everything in place for what we hope will be a tremendous game of rugby. The conditions certainly couldn't be better. Not a breath of wind, an invitingly firm pitch and warm sunshine. The crowd in shirt-sleeve order for this finale to the club season. Some late team news, and it's disappointing for Harlequins. Brian Moore, their international hooker, failed a fitness test this morning on his injured groin and is replaced by that loyal and faithful stand-in Nick Killick. Otherwise, it's the side originally chosen with Chris Madderson, who came into the side for the semi-final against Wasps, given the task of marking Rory Underwood on the wing. And at the other end of the scale, Peter Winterbottom, indestructible on Harlequins' flank, will be making his last appearance in this country. He intends to retire after the tour to New Zealand. Mind you, Rory Underwood announced his retirement at the end of last season, but he's back and a major figure in Leicester's plans. But it's the Leicester pack which has been getting the headlines recently. They have a young and combative front five, and in the back row of John Wells, Neil Back, and the mighty Dean Richards, they could perhaps have a winning combination. Your commentators for this Pilkington Cup final, Paul Ackford and Nigel Starmer-Smith.
And perhaps the grandest finale for Harlequins captain, third time leading them to a cup final, Peter Winterbottom, who plays his final club game in those familiar multicoloured Harlequin jerseys. Referee, the 31-year-old paramedic from the West Country, the Somerset Society, Tony Spreadbury, his first Pilkington Cup final. Harlequins set it underway, bidding to go one better than last year when they lost in such dramatic style in the last moments of extra time against Bath. Leicester, great cup campaigners too. Winners in the 80s and the 90s. Leicester, the Tigers, a huge support here for the club. And full house, 54,000 at Twickenham on this superb day. A bit muggy, but scarce a breath of wind. Wonderful conditions for playing in. Dean Richards, they were chanting Dino at the outset. And it's just outside the Tigers, Leicester's 22. Adel Cardooni to Jez Smith. First kick of the game by him, and a beauty it is. No Brian Moore to throw in, so it's Nick Killick taking over. Brian Moore failing his fitness test. Key area, Paul Ackford.
Yes, it is. They'll have rehearsed with Nick Killick this morning, so Brian's absence won't be so great there.
Cardooni, Harris. Wide open spaces there. Kent Bray covers. Deep in the Quins' 22. And happy just to dive it out of play. So early pressure coming from the Leicester Tigers, and here will a young pack in Leicester colours that has impressed increasingly with the season.
I think the key to the game here, Nigel, is the half-back situation. Jez Harris has started very well. None of the players are used to the big occasion. If they can master that, then the side will do well.
Jez Harris, local from Market Harborough, who's certainly done well as he's come through to the limelight. Martin Johnson, first catch. Jez Harris now ducks inside Winterbottom, but is snaffled by the Quins' cover. Harlequin 22. Neil Back ripping it off. Down impressively, forcefully by Winterbottom. But it's Cardooni again. Harris. Clever kick. Bray just coming up from his own line. Recovers it well. There's Kent Bray, who got the nod in selection over Stuart Thresher, who'd been in 2 previous cup finals. This, Bray's first, the Australian-born Harlequin. Shrill blast from Tony Spreadbury. Leicester closing the gap, and Quins have the relief of the clearance kick. So it's young Paul Challoner, who's come through the ranks of junior England rugby, product of Royal Grammar School, Guildford. Safely away, 10 metres beyond the 22.
Quins are worried about Martin Johnson in the line-out. When the two teams met in the league, Johnson comprehensively outplayed Snow.
So on Leicester's throw, it's Johnson there at the front. Matt Poole, letter E in the middle. And the options at the back. Looks as though Mark Russell stole it for Quins. He's number 6. Quins ball. Glenister Away from Challoner, Will Carling, but that's badly placed. Tony Underwood. Good tackle coming in from Jeff Alexander. Certainly made Tony Underwood know his presence. That's Alexander, another of the youngsters to come through the Quins under-21 level. Cockrell to throw, part of this impressive new look Leicester Tigers front row. Through the line out, Alex Snow. Glenister back, away to Challoner now. That's a useful ball. Will Challoner, just 23, made his debut against Cardiff 3 seasons ago and has already been in the England squad, in Lanzarote this season, and an England A cap. Great promise.
Peter Rossborough, who managed the England 7, reckons he's the best kicker of the ball in England at the moment.
Well, no better example than that last one. Takes Quins to the Leicester 22. Such a wonderfully balanced lineup, the two sides here, and perhaps focal point, the back rows, Richards and back, Sheesby and Winterbottom in opposition, together with John Wells and Mark Russell. Up comes Liley for the clearance, doesn't make it. Young Madison with an unnerving opening touch. This is the guy who's only been 19 days in senior rugby. What a remarkable arrival on the scene for this 20-year-old from Tunbridge School. And opposite, well, what more experience could you have than Rory Underwood, the man he's marking? Johnson at the front. Cardooni swings it away. Harris pumps it up to the heavens. Gray waits outside the 22. Did it come off the Harlequin? Into the Harlequin. It's a penalty. That's really unlucky, but quite a fair decision from Tony Spreadbury. Almost one of those reaction catches, Paul.
Yes, it was. It was a good kick, but Will Carling's in front of the ball as it comes off Kent Bray, the Harlequins fullback. No doubt about that decision.
Could be a match winner for Leicester, as it has been so often. 56 points in Leicester's cup run already this season. 7 penalties, 10 conversions. And England's second highest point scorer of the season. Liley, a chance to open it. 7 minutes played. He's missed. Faded away, and a let-off for Harlequins. It stays 0-0. So, the one real clear chance then for Leicester, but after just over 7 minutes, it stays 0-0. Challoner. Snow knocks down. This is Killick, the late replacement, with the withdrawal of Brian Moore this morning because of that injured groin. Glenister to Challoner. Neatly off the left foot that time. And sympathies for Moore, of course, who clearly couldn't risk further damage with the Lions tour departure only some 12 days away. Russell took it for Harlequins. And a penalty as Leicester dive over and lie on the ball. Good work by Russell there. One of the Harlequins' unsung heroes, really, Paul. You'll have great familiarity with him, your cup final experience of last year and so on.
He's a great player. He's a huge man and very, very strong. But what he might lack for the top level is just an extra yard of pace. This occasion will test that out. Down to Leicester's 22 again. Well, two sides committed to an attractive style of rugby. We've got the weather, we've got the crowd, the conditions perfect, and it's boiling up already.
Well away by Snow to set up the opportunity. Carling chasing hard, it's dropping on the line. Liley and Carling together. The follow-up was by Langhorne. Almost there. Quins try and drive in. Almost panic on the line. Challoner wide. Russell going. Still going. Trying to pirouette through the tackle. Camps on the Leicester line. It's there for Glenister. Goes himself. Must score. Is he held up? He gets it down. He reached. And repeats what he achieved in 1991 in the Cup Final with a try against Northampton. And now he's done it again after that rapid build-up of pressure, the superb hoisted kick, and then the availability of the ball to give Quins the lead.
Wonderful try from the high kick. Glenister does the hard work there, but the forwards kept the ball alive tremendously well for that short period of time.
Well, he took a bit of a gamble here with the player outside. The cover was in. Wells, you can see, held him up, but he reached and grounded it. Well, a player who's had varying fortunes, Rob Glenister, in and out of the cup side, missed last year's final. Challoner with the conversion attempt. It's a good kick. Oh, magnificent. And in the cup final, Cauldron, extra special. A 7-point lead, 10.5 minutes played.
It's a tremendous start for Harlequins. It'll also test out the young Leicester front five. 7 points adrift now.
Leonard, Killick, Mullins against the promise of Roundtree, Cockerill, Garforth in the front row battle, and they're all pitching into the deck at the moment.
This is where Quins will miss Brian Moore most. Killick throws in very well, but he hasn't got Moore's presence in the tight here.
Cardooni, Harris. Again, testing out Gray, who waits. Had plenty of time, though. It was perhaps a little far down the field to be effective. Richards and others collide. It was Madison who'd come in. He'll have to cover now because Leicester attack down the left back, the link. Leicester still. Set up by Bates. Leicester come again, lots of men, spread eagle to the right, it's back, keeping it close, knocked on by Roundtree. Promising interplay there by Leicester, good support.
This is more like it from Leicester. They try and keep the ball available. Inside here to Neil back. And he's got such good hands that he's always looking for support. Shouldn't have passed to a prop, perhaps.
So Leicester bidding to recapture the form that was so impressive in the semi-final, the first half against Northampton, when they really brushed Northampton aside in a great display up to half-time. Quins, the narrow victory over Wasps. Good catch by Liley. Rory Underwood looks for the counter with him, but it's Liley carving his way up the middle, still holding on. Everyone looking to Underwood, but Liley just kept going. Now it's Harris, now it's back the link. Chance on here with Stuart Potter. Potter cuts inside. Wonderful try by Stuart Potter to bring Leicester straight back. Magnificent running, first by Liley, and then classically by Stuart Potter.
It's a wonderful try by Stuart Potter. John Liley had carved up through the middle of the field. That man back again. And Potter, what a great dummy. Looks to his outside and then steps in and beats, what, 4 or 5 men. Tremendous try.
Wonderful running by Leicester here, and shades of things to come. And this really the quality of rugby we'd been hoping to see in the final. That's a classic dummy. And he had the vision to see the opening once he'd done it, and then the pace that earned him a place on the Barbarian Tour at Easter. Wonderful score by the 24-year-old. And Liley can put it level as we come to the midway point of this first half, and the game already living up to its promise. John Liley. Crowd says it all. Elated Leicester supporters and a real tiger. Seven all.
Here's the dummy again. Rob Bannister there, covering across to the wing. But he has the pace to finish the move off. He's outpacing Carling then, who's no slouch, as we all know.
Back to all square as we move into the second quarter. Just again a little bit of a dust-up. Referee separates them. Player tackled without the ball. Here's John Lively. The Harlequin player. But of course it was a penalty anyway, so it's Leicester's throw-in. Three-man line out this time. Martin Johnson 6'6", Matt Poole 6'7" behind him, Dean Richards shorter at 6'3.5" at the back, outside arm, wins possession, and also a free kick. Cardooni takes to Neil back, the playmaker to Richards. Obstruction though as the players ran across the face of the man with the ball. Harlequins chance to settle down after the flurry of Leicester attacks.
Richards in Mark Russell's role there, cannoning into the middle of the field, quick ball, and then the scrum half and the fly half can go either left or right.
Challoner looking for a safe touch. Full penalty, so the important thing of course is to make the safe touch and then get the throw in to the line out as well. It's the halfway line. Bouncing everywhere. Johnson slips it to Cardooni, to Harris, looks for the gap, nailed hard by Winterbottom again. And so too Tony Underwood, and then Cardooni. Player diving in after the tackle, gets on the ground. It's a penalty to Harlequins. What a sequence of tackles, Paul Ackford.
Tremendous sequence of tackles, probably the best one being the one by Alex Snow. Here we go, under pressure, and here comes Alex Snow to bury Cardooni. Tremendous work by the second row forward.
And you can see the Leicester players then following in, not staying on their feet, as you must after the tackle. Next man up, there's Alex Snow. England Tour of Canada, a worthy reward for his efforts this season. Now, Challoner. This to recapture the lead. 10-7 if he gets it. What a good kick. So, having notched up his 50 points with his previous conversion in the Cup this season, he moves on to 54 and a lead 10-7, 24 minutes into this first half. What a game this is developing into. Glenister. Problems on the fringe. Free kick with the dummy pass, which of course is not allowed as of this season. So it's a free kick, and is Lively just going to plant it in the corner? He's going to plant one up high. Scramble in the 22, anyone's ball. Langhorne goes in with Richard Cockrell. Knock on both ways. Leicester first.
Prime attacking Leicester position here for Leicester. The 20-yard blind side. Defences won't know which way to defend.
Options open to Cardooni. Richards looks poised to take it, but it's wheeled round, so he leaves it for Cardooni. Harris looks for the drop, thought about it, went himself. Inside Tony Underwood, nailed. all about who gets it. It's there, well set back for Cardooni to Harris. Mismove straight through to Potter. Back in the middle, back still. Defence sound. Challoner came in with that challenge. It's there again, though, in front of the post. Harris, drop goal, surely. That'll do. Third drop goal in the cup to add to the spectacular one he slotted in the semi-final against Northampton. And Harris levels it again after 29 minutes.
That man Neil back again. He's having a major influence on this game already. This is where the ball gets slowed up a wee bit. Otherwise, Leicester would probably have moved it again. And now the only option for Harris is to take a pot at goal. The quality of the rugby is impressive so far this half. Sides haven't gained ground by mistakes. They've done it by playing extremely well.
Not straight. Referee waits for advantage. Leicester makes something of it here. Cardooni again persisting with the high ball, dropping on the fullback. Anyone's Challoner in trouble. They would have been had he not got a hand to it at all. Johnson sets it back. Cardooni, Harris threw down to Bates. Rory Underwood challenges. Across comes Thompson. Still anyone's. 15 metres infield. Leicester have it. There should be an overlap here. They're working it through Pates. Back, it's all slowed down. The cover in from Killick. So too from Leonard. But a chance again. Another drop goal. He's going himself. Jez Harris. Short of support though. Sheesby in with power. And surely a chance lost. Quins to the rescue. Alexander away. Good clearance. Well, extraordinary how Quins extricated themselves from that.
What a great sequence of play. Both sides flat out, last-ditch tackles. Marvellous play.
Looks a spot of pain there. I'm not surprised after his sterling efforts in those last couple of minutes. Tackling, clearing, and getting nailed.
You get the impression, though, at this stage that it's Harlequins very much who are hanging on in there. If the dam is going to burst, they're going to be on the wrong end of that.
Untidy ball. Glenister, though, has time to get it to Challoner. Carling. It's all under pressure. It's all tight defences and tight marking. Great kick, though. Captain Carling of England. This his 4th cup final. Present, as was Paul Ackford in 88, 91, 92.
He's kicked well, Paul Challoner, but I sometimes wonder whether he shouldn't have moved the ball on 1 or 2 occasions. He's got some good hands, but I think he's been slow a couple of times in his distribution.
So no restructure of the back division required. Challoner back in place. And he'll certainly try and survive the 4 minutes to half-time and then reassess the situation then, I guess. Through the line out, Quins penalised. Away by Liley. It's often to have the troubles of the world, and can't help reflecting how similar in so many ways he is to his predecessor Dusty Hare in looks and very much in style and in poker face.
Les Cusworth calls him Dusty No Hair, but
at the halfway line still. 3 minutes less than that to go of this half. Jez Harris again fancying a little sally up the middle, but it's lost out as Sheesby links. Then from Madison it goes wide to Alexander. Support there inside on the loose ball. Once more Alexander, mounting the pressure up to the Leicester 22. It's been a fast, furious half. It stands at 10-all. Langhorn's tapped down, Glenister away. Popped up to Thompson, the thrust up the middle by Russell. Glenister has it, almost denied in the end. With Leicester offside, Neil back. Is the player penalised? He'd got on the wrong side, and it could cost Leicester dear just before the change of ends.
That's the man Russell is trying to involve in the breakdowns, and that time the Leicester pack just kept on to the ball that wee bit too long to give away the penalty.
Well, he may be limping, but he's still fit enough to take the penalty attempt. Paul Challoner, 26 penalty goals for Harlequins, and 27 in his career, takes them 13-10 ahead with the half-time whistle blown. Well, it's as wide open really as it was when we started. Wonderful rugby, flourish of backs and forwards in interplay, which has brought two superb tries, and still anyone's game, Paul Ackford.
It's very well balanced. I just wonder about the heat factor out there. It's been a long, hard season, and the side who's going to win this game is the side who can last the pace longest.
So 3 times winners, 3 times runners-up, Leicester against last year's runners-up and winners of the previous year. And once runners-up before that, Harlequins. So well balanced. Straight back into the action, set up by Russell. Away Glenister. Challoner looking and running more freely. Back missed by Dean Richards. A problem for Liley as Winterbottom piles in. Just outside the Leicester 22. Quinn's ball here. Glenister, Russell, now Madison back inside. Knock on. Well, just to give some indication of the energy-sapping conditions, Quinn's took a real rest at half-time, went into the shade, sat on the grass. It's a very sapping energy afternoon. Cardooni. Adele back to John Liley.
I'm not sure, Nigel, whether that's because they're already tired or they're trying to conserve energy for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, good. In anticipation of the events of the last 2 years, when, of course, both times with Quins in the final, it went to extra time against Northampton, so excitingly in '91, and against Bath last year. Remember the Barnes coup de grace, the last drop goal, the end of extra time. Quins come through. Offside. Lang penalised. There he is, 6'6" of him, this foreign exchange broker from Sevenoaks. Liley then down the line. Not quite made it through to full international level, but everything underneath that, under 21s, England B. Cut to 2 again by Leicester. Martin Johnson. Unlucky really not to be first call for the Lions, but there on call as reserve. Cardooni, Jez Harris. Persistent ploy. Cleanly taken by Madison, but that's good work by Dean Richards, typical of him. Jez Harris through now to Bates. Defence was there in their multicolours. Offside and hands on. Referee had in fact given them adequate warning, but pretty blatantly they've conceded the penalty. Conversion by John Liley, levelled it earlier. He now has the chance to put it all square again. 13-all. 3 tries, 11 conversions, 7 penalties in a cup run. That's not bad going. This to put it all back in the melting pot. Just coming up to 4 minutes of the second half. Sweetly struck. Great effort. 13-all. 4 minutes played, second half. And so these two clubs who met 6 times in the cup, the balance favouring Leicester, 4 wins to 1 thus far. Spin it a bit now, can't stretch it though. Potter's cut back into the middle, but they've worked it again to Harris, trying to link. This is Rory Underwood, man and ball. Cardooni to back, shows he's a versatile individual. It's a good kick. Pressure on Gray here. What an effort from the flanker. Set to indulge in his other favourite pursuit of cricket after he comes back from England's tour of Canada. Sets up this line out then, 8 metres out from the Harlequin line. Floated for Alex Snow, but it's the outside arm and a free kick to Leicester. Menacing position. What'll they do here?
I think they'll try and get Dino running at the midfield Harlequins here.
He looks poised, certainly looking for a big man. Poole, maybe. Poole the dummy. The drive is by Johnson, straight through. We picked the wrong man, but the power drive was what they set up. And it was a clear run, quite extraordinarily almost, for Martin Johnson. And so, for the first time, Leicester go ahead.
Great deception by Leicester. They had 3 or 4 key runners and no one picked up Johnson, and that too many gaps there for the Harlequins to fill.
And 17 stone at full tilt takes a bit of stopping. Watch how the deception worked here. Well, we'd plumped for the wrong people as well, so too did Quins, and it was Johnson, virtually a clean run through, nothing anyone could do about it. 18-13, the stalemate broken, and Leicester ahead for the first time. Liley to try and add the conversion points. to 13. The Tigers supporters rampant.
Normally the Quins will defend this man-to-man, so that the man marking Johnson should have put the tackle in.
Quins try and spread it. Winterbottom cuts back in, is bundled away. But there's no advantage coming for Harlequins from a first offence of a knock-on.
Obviously a crucial period for Harlequins now, and one would expect that their seasoned internationals, Will Carling in particular, to try and take the game by the scruff of the neck.
Carling now then. Well, that's not so clever. The bounce was favourable though. Picked up by Madison. Bit of a breakdown as Bates struggles and wrestles it away. Cardooni unsure which way. Clever little chip though, puts pressure on Bray and the Quins line again. Liley anxious to get hands back on the ball. Back to within 5 metres. Good play by Adel Cardooni, the England B player. He's been in doubt with appendix trouble, but in cracking form in the semi-final, and here again in the final itself. Leicester's throw, 5 metres out. Johnson, Poole, Richards, Wells, also the key men. Johnson and Richards, and now Wells. Johnson with him, so too Roundtree. Driving on, now Matt Poole, letter E. Richards, G, they'll try and roll it to the short side. It's really wrestling of higher order. Mullins was the one to let the fist go, and it breaks out as the tension spills over to spoil what had been up till this point a clean and outstanding game. And Mullins was certainly seen by referee Spreadbury. He could be walking a dangerous tightrope here, so too Richard Cockrell. He certainly caught Mullins in action, but then, of course, it was absolute mayhem for a moment. Well, one never knows if there's an element of retaliation in all this, which can spark players to do things they would not normally dream of. Well, I sense there may have been a bit of trampling in anticipation of Mullins' retaliation. That, I think, is the implication of all that. And the penalty is to Harlequins. So very much then along that line of thinking that Mullins was the man, the wounded party in every sense. Clearly couldn't be excused for retaliating as he did. (20 points to 13, 7 ahead are Leicester, 16 minutes into the second half. Sheesby, it's well down to Glenister. A pace or two too far, though, by the scrum half. Leicester ball. Referee shrewdly not allowing those close quarters encounters to develop longer than necessary.
Don't get it back.
It's on the wheel, and they'll go down again. Tony Spreadbury in good control. Paramedic with the Avon Ambulance Service. He's refereed for 14 years. He knows the tricks of the trade. With the players as well, and steps in again quickly. This man from between Bath and Bristol. Coombe Down affiliations as a player in early days.
He talks to the referees as well, Nigel, which is always a good sign.
To the players even.
Sorry, indeed, yes, to the players.
And referees, no doubt, for Cardooni waits. Jez Harris. Oh, that's well placed. Oh, that's a gem. Yes, Packle love that. Less so the Quins. Back to within 5 metres of their own line again.
Leicester have got a bit of a stranglehold on this game at the moment. They know that with their upper body strength and the mauling expertise of Richards and Wells, they can stay down in the Quins 22 and just eat the clock up.
2 tries to 1, 20 points to 13. John Wells there, captain, will be pleased with the way it's developing in his last club match as captain. Problems for Glenister, bottled up by Cockrell. No more than 3 metres out, but it's Quins' ball. Winterbottom the link, Challoner with the clearance. Nice little gesture of acknowledgement, sporting from Back and Challoner. Real Back, well, is 5'10" too short, so they say. Subsequently denied, I believe. Surprisingly on his form. The reeve of English rugby. Cockrell long, Richards at the back, Sheesby does a lot of good close quarter work too. set through to Alex Snow, another youngster in the Quins party. Again, one's impressed by Chris Sheesby, the man who locks the Harlequin scrum. We saw how effective he was at the Sevens game, but this Pangbourne College schoolmaster has, I'd have thought, still a good chance of full honours. Meanwhile, Jez Harris, the drop goal, has gone past the left post. It swung away, it looked on target. The crowd in the north stand were hailing it, the Leicester supporters were, but tantalisingly it drifted away.
Well worth the try here, because at the moment Leicester are 1 score ahead, and that would have taken them to 2. Good decision.
Yeah, next score vital. Either way, pulls Quins into touch, takes Leicester with a reasonable buffer. They're pressurising all the time now. They're still camped in the Quins half, deep. Cardooni, Harris, dummies, through to Lively, the full-back. Rory Underwood, great tackle. Not bad for a man playing his 4th only first-class game, Chris Maddison. Penalty, though, as Quins pile in. And Carling looks a bit nonplussed at being adjudged the guilty party as the man diving in on the deck in the follow-up to the tackle. Well, it was an all-enveloping tackle by Maddison that looked to have stemmed the immediate danger, and this was one to savour.
Yeah, a nightmare for the young man, really. Rory Underwood, one of the world's great wings, and he puts him down wonderfully well, but the pressure's beginning to tell for the Harlequins.
Lively will know the significance of this kick. 7-point lead is just a converted try, but it would require an extra score for Quins if Lively can get this for the Tigers. It's close, but the wrong side again of that left post. He's got a very slight left draw on his kicks, and that just swung away. No wind to speak of. Always a tiny eddy at Twickenham, even on a breathless day like this, but no, 20-13 it stays. And we've 19 minutes to play, the last quarter of a good final. Two sides with similarly contrasting results on the way through, with easy wins for Quins over Blackheath and Wakefield, then tight games with Waterloo and Wasps. Quins now through Carling. Lively's there to cover. Can't run it back into his 22 for the correct kick and touch, so puts up a Gary Owen, which is a bit flat. Bray has time to launch the counter. Glenister wide, bad pass. Possible for Mullins, no, a knock-on given. And you don't get many free-running opportunities like that to squander.
Slightly unfair for a prop at this stage of the game. Glenister was looking to pass to a centre and passed in front of the man, and Mullins couldn't quite get to it. It's very much no-risk rugby from Leicester at the moment. Wells and Richards are calling the shots, and they're very much in control.
They have the throw. Round from Wells. Round goes 21-year-old Graham Roundtree, another England tourist to Canada. Quins may have struggled with it back. They'll get the put in anyway, because the ball wasn't out. I mentioned remarkable cup records as we wait for attention to Graham Roundtree, but Leicester 52 wins, 69 matches is their Pilkington Cup record. Harlequins with 43 out of 60. Oh, and it's Langhorne who's got real problems here with that cut on the head. And he's off the pitch.
Next season, if this situation happens, you can get a replacement on for 5 minutes.
Simon Deere is available on the bench. Referee just comes to check. I think they'll obviously carry on without him. He expects to come back. They're just strapping up the cut on the head. Again, good work by Maria Crunny. And it's a 7-man scrummage for Quins now. He's going for further attention, Langhorne, so they might have to have a replacement in the end. Glenister may not find touch. Up comes Madison. Liley caught by him. Madison there, number 14, has really made quite a remarkable impact with club, league and cup debuts in the last 19 days. This Durham University student. Quite a gamble in selection coming from the ranks. Alex Snow just turned 24 at the front. Sheesby at the back at 26. Spoiling by Richards. Mullins to try and set it up again. Russell to switch. Challoner. Carling, can he produce something here? Madison cuts inside well, nearly through, pops it up well. Sheesby took it brilliantly. Russell hangs on. Quins now building up a bit of momentum. Glenister couldn't hold it. And it's fly hack through to Leicester again. Charge down, danger here. Underwood upended. And a knock on at the end of it all. And Harlequins will get the put into the scrum. We've players tumbling down here with Sheesby injured. Chris Sheesby. And Challoner looks like a worsening of that early first half injury to the pelvic area. And at least they can welcome Richard Langhorne back with, what, 11 minutes to go.
He's a great player. He's a good club man, Richard Langhorne. Very much unsung at representative level, but you can guarantee that he'll give 100% in these sorts of games.
Sheesby still on the deck. Challoner's back on his feet. And Sheesby. So Langhorne with 4 stitches to the forehead. And Sheesby, the Pangbourne schoolmaster, back in action straight away. Awkward pass. Unnecessary pressure put on themselves through their own fault. Quins. Away go Leicester. Jez Harris. Challoner. And then the follow-up tackle. Back. Buried. But a knock-on at the beginning. And Leicester happy to get away with a scrummage put in there. Well, the green marks the Leicester dominance territorially, but possession, winning reasonable ball, has been Quins' prerogative, perhaps surprisingly, as one reflects, but Leicester have certainly been the dominant party in this second period. And it's they who lead, 20-13. Jez Harris. Stuart Potter in trouble. But it's an offside. And Harlequins now, do they pull back 3 points? Do they go for the try and conversion? It's Winterbottom's decision, and he knows that 10 minutes can be an eternity in a rugby match, and calls up Paul Challoner. You'd call the same, Paul Eckford?
Yes, I think so. I think you've got to get the points when they're on offer, and then hope to score a converted try in the last 10 minutes or so.
Well, this would lift the Harlequin spirits substantially. Challoner, 2 penalties conversion already. This to get within 4 points. Less than 9 to go. Great kick, pressure kick. It looks as though it's going down to the wire. 4 points only the margin. The Pilkington Cup at stake.
Quins have got to get down back into the Leicester half. The first time they've done it, they've got 3 points as a result.
There, the magnificent trophy at stake. Last claim by Harlequins in '91. And the cup last time in Leicester's possession. The end of that wonderful hat-trick of 79, 80 and 81. It means so much to the clubs, to the players. The end of what has been a long, hard season for all these men. And there's still a bit to come for 6 Lions out there. Glenister, possession for Quins. Challoner meant to put a bit extra height on that. It's a free time for Tony Underwood. It's a good kick. Well, little opportunity to show his electrifying pace, this Barnard Castle School lad, but good defensive work by him then. We'll probably need a bit of that in New Zealand. 2-man line for Harlequins. Snow at the front. Challoner, Carling, Madison's looping support. Oh, it's well nigh near interception. Deliberate knock on by Rory Underwood, though. Free kick.
Carling surprised me a wee bit. He's not taken an awful lot on his own shoulders, and he's just shipped the ball on each time.
Yes, well, I would have thought on this occasion his mind would be on the Lions tour ahead, but it's not starred as one might expect a player of his class. Well, perhaps it'll make us all fools. Madison with a bit of a run. Chris Madison has pace. Winterbottom's inside. The tackle surely before the man had the ball. The referee lets it play on. Sheesby drives up 10 metres out. He didn't give the penalty, and I think Winterbottom will be aggrieved as Underwood came in. But Quins still with something left. Now, where are the reserves greater? Less than 6 to go. 20-16. Another cracking close final. Leicester's throw in. Langhorne couldn't hold it. Knock on. Relief for Leicester. And even a simple moment like that could be win or lose in a game. The catch there by Langhorne, he was through. A knock on, it's Leicester and the chance to clear. 20-16. 5 minutes and a bit of injury time to go. Cardooni to feed. 6 metres out. Brummage is all over the shop.
Quins are desperate here for a heel against the head, so the front row putting the pressure on early, trying to unsettle the Leicester pack.
Well, one thing we can be pretty sure about is it can't be an extra time effort this time, because no one can get 4 points. Quins too eager are offside. So if Quins are to score, it'll be 3 or 5 or 7. It's 20-16. Leicester looking to turn the clock back 12 years. The troops down from the Midlands in Leicester colours, lifting the side in the dying minutes. Liley safely away. It was in touch. Well, worth a shot. Leicester throw in. They're not hurrying. Who can blame them? We've 3 minutes and injury time to go. And this is certainly smacking of unreasonable delay by Leicester, but it's Quins who've got possession. Outside arm, free kick to Leicester.
I think that's one of the aspects of the new laws which the players hate most, that they don't do it deliberately, they just have to make late adjustments at times, and they get penalised for it.
For Quins, they reel back from the high kick by Liley. A knock-on already awarded. Bray looking for the opportunity to run, and he does. Tackle by Back. but no advantage will have come from the first knock-on. Good refereeing again by Tony Spreadbury, the England panel referee. He's had an outstanding game here. We're down to 2 minutes at injury time. Getting down to last chances for Harlequins to pull it out of the fire. Carling. Bray trying to flip one round French style, but the man wasn't there. Thompson was back. Leicester pile in and win. Cockrell drives over, back again via Roundtree. Back switches it. Liley has to wait for the bounce. Liley for the corner, but not quite the angle for Rory Underwood to chase. Challoner. Counting down now to the last full minute. Have Leicester done enough? Well, another tight, epic final to match those of the last 2 years, which went to extra time. We're into the last minute. Tony Underwood challenges as Bray opts for the mark, and he'll run it here. Carling trying to extricate himself, but that's going to happen when you're desperate. It doesn't run for you. Leicester happy to play it down here in the Quins 22.
Quins forced to take risks because of the scoreline, but they're really on the rack here, and I think we can safely assume that Leicester are going to be Pilkington Cup champions.
So the signs are that Peter Winterbottom won't have that new gift of a trombone to be blowing in celebration that the club presented him with as a parting gift. Far from that, it looks as though John Wells now knows that he's got this game wrapped up with a penalty chance to seal it. As we move into injury time, there's John Wells, a great captain in his final match in that role, this former Loughborough lad on the edge of double celebration. The first son, Thomas, like Dean Richards, newly a father, and happy fans know that Liley can settle it here. Conversion, twice, a penalty, Liley's regular contribution. This for 23-16. No mistake. Consistency from Liley. And all Quins can hope for now is some miracle from the restart. About, I guess, 2 minutes of injury time left to play. Well, it's happened before. A knock on, and Leicester know they can take their time here. They've got a scrummage to follow if they need it, and they'll get it. Knock on from the restart. So it looks as though this well-drilled Leicester side, steered by Ian Smith of Uppingham School and Tony Russ, the director of coaching at Leicester, are starting what I think will be an impressive few years for certain. This young side that's built tremendous teamwork, but still Harlequins have other ideas as Thompson runs away, loses it in the tackle. Leicester win it back, and Leicester come again. Matt Poole downed once again, as so often by Winterbottom in those colours. Liley just happy to play it deep into this territory here. The wrong side of the corner flag. 22 dropout. Referee already glances at the watch. Challoner. Back from Glenister to Challoner again, Carling. But the marking from Leicester so tight, so effective, that added determination. With the Pilkington Cup in sight, it's theirs! It's Leicester's Pilkington Cup, as the crowd and the players themselves celebrate a great triumph and an epic final. It was 23-16 in the end. Leicester having come back to take the lead for the first time after about 10 minutes of the second half. The tears of joy for John Wells there, a triumph of captaincy, and a team, I'm sure, that has an outstanding future for itself in League and Cup rugby. Not the perfect finale, the fairy tale end for a great Harlequin and great clubman with Headingley as well, Peter Winterbottom. Captain of Quins, this his final appearance with just the Lions to come. But that man goes on forever, doesn't he? Dean Richards, who was in the final 10 years ago and now sees his club name on the cup for the first time. And so an epic again, a great Pilkington Cup final, and Leicester back to win it for the fourth time in their history, but the first this since 1981. Worthy champions are Leicester. To the victors, the spoils, and the proudest moment surely for John Wells, captain of Leicester, as he receives the Pilkington Cup, already decked in the Leicester Tigers colours, presented to him by Darnie Serpentine, the president. A moment of triumph. Darnie Serpentine accompanied by Sir Anthony Pilkington, chairman of the sponsors, Pilkington PLC. Special delight for Graham Willers there of Leicester, and in turn that cup hoisted by the players. Graham Rowntree, and what a front row of the future. Rowntree, Cockerell and Garforth. Try scorer Martin Johnson. Not a day when the Underwoods were the decisive influences, but nevertheless, for all of them, a first time with hands on the cup. Neil Back, effervescent as ever. Matt Poole and all. Remember, Leicester's first time, despite so often close, winning the cup for the first time for 12 years. Dean Richards, the ever-popular hero. And John Liley, the smiles of success. And, well, for Tony Russ and Paul Dodge, key influences, along with Ian Smith, in this Leicester backup team. A day of triumph and a day to savour, and I sense there are going to be a few more triumphant days for this Leicester side to come.